Welcome everybody to the Evident Proof demo. My name is Matt Roden. I'm the CTO of Evident. Demos run every Tuesday at 10 a.m. UK time and 4 p.m. UK time on a Thursday. We try and keep them pretty quick, 10 minutes, no more, just to give you a very brief run through of the functions of the software, give you an opportunity to ask me questions on Telegram, and should you have more sort of deep dive questions, tech questions or business questions, then feel free to reach out to myself or any of the team on Telegram at any point. Okay, hopefully everyone can hear me okay. I'll dive straight in. So quick summary of Evident Proof. Evident Proof is a solution offered as a service to individuals and enterprises to store proof of data. So what do we mean by that? So transactional data and asset data and event data is becoming more and more important, and the need to prove the integrity and the immutability of that data is a pressing factor for enterprises at the moment. So what do we mean by data? So one of our clients manufactures safety equipment, and they have an issue with counterfeit products in their supply chain, and they use Evident Proof to store proof of the immutability of that data. So on the block seals hashes and allows individuals or enterprises to recall that data at a later date, along with a proof certificate showing that it was stored in an immutable way. So this is the software, this is the dashboard. How does one get started using Evident Proof? It's as simple as generating an API key. Once you have an API key, you're able to access the software programmatically to send evidence data. So that's effectively your data, but in a fixed schema we call evidence. And our service will seal that data, effectively a hash, store the seals on the blockchain, more specifically the Ethereum blockchain, and allow you to recall a proof certificate at a later date. If you want to get started, please contact any of us for an account. Go on, read the API documentation, generate an API key, and yourself or your development teams can start writing calls to the Evident Proof service to submit transactional data. So let's dive straight into looking at a flow of how a system integrates into Evident Proof. So we have a real client, which is a taxi licensing, one of the largest providers of taxi licensing solutions in the UK, so supplying to local government, and they are using the service to store proof of the process used in issuing a taxi license. So why is this important? Well, only a couple of months ago in the Guardian in the UK, an article was published saying 150,000 taxi licenses were issued last year to drivers with criminal convictions, drink driving convictions, driving bans, you name it, they had it. And of course, trying to prove in an immutable way the integrity of the checks and balances that were done against those drivers is difficult unless you have a service which can offer immutable proof of data. So the system that's integrated into Evident Proof is a large line of business application within a solution, but we've sort of recreated a small workflow from their system, which essentially just shows a basic license being created. And so we'll go through that flow. This application is integrated into the Evident APIs using API keys. and effectively what you'll be able to see is how this data is submitted across to Evident, what format it is stored in, and how we produce a proof certificate later down the line. So what we're going to do is just create a taxi license. Okay, we'll put in a license name. So that's license holder name, license active, criminal record check performed. Of course, within the client solution, they would be submitting evidence to support the criminal record check. So the response from the API that was used, or the police data, so on and so forth. Again, driving license. So we're just going to put in a number here, but on the real system, they're submitting a scanned copy of the driving license. The important thing to remember here is the data itself is not stored on the blockchain, so none of this is public, it's all confidential, but the seals are stored on the blockchain so that we're able to prove the integrity of the data. So identity check performed, again there'll be some supporting documentation, so let's just go and create that license. So now this is being submitted in the background to the evidence service. And so we can go and see the license. Lots of demo data in here. We use this log on for demoing. So Holger Tom. And then if we go into proof seals, so this is data submitted, proof points submitted to the evidence service. You'll be able to see, one second, Holger Tom. So let me talk you through what this screen is and what we're looking at. So when data is submitted to the Evident Proof service, we ask for it to be submitted in a format called evidence. What does evidence consist of? Well, it is a cross-reference key. This links the data back to some contextual thing in your business domain, be it an asset, an event, a product, so and so on. A key. This is for this individual proof point, what is the key of this data? A value, this can be a single field, it can be a single bit of text, or it can be the works of Shakespeare. It's largely irrelevant. The point is that we store this data in the evidence format. There is also a mechanism for you to be able to store this data on your own infrastructure so that we never see it. We can talk about that in detail if anyone has any questions on that mechanism. Whatever you submit to us, it is converted to a simple hash. This hash represents this data. If you were to rehash this data, you'd get the same seal, and thus we can prove that the seals stored on the the blockchain do indeed match this data. Not only do they include the value, they include all the other evidence data, including a timestamp, a dispatch ID, and a where field, which is normally an IP address, but could be an ID of a machine in a factory, geolocation, and so on. When data is submitted through to Evident, what's returned is a receipt. So the receipt was returned successfully, and we get a receipt ID. Why is a receipt important? Well, this is your and our reference back to the transaction in which you stored this data. So we return this on the API call when you send us the evidence data, and you can store this receipt ID against the source data if you so wish, so that you can say, for this record, for this asset, for this event, for this product, here is the receipt which shows that we stored this data in an immutable way on the Evident Proof service. It's an incredibly powerful way to verify your data. And then the final step here is that I would want to, as a user, I would want to store this data in an immutable way and get a proof certificate later down the line to prove that this data was stored in an immutable way. So why might I need this? If I'm in a litigation scenario, in a court of law, if I'm in an audit scenario, or so on, then I may need to present a proof certificate which shows everything that is required to prove that the data was indeed stored immutably. So I'm going to go and request a proof certificate now from the service. Okay, and you can see that I requested a proof certificate. I used some tokens as part of this transaction. We won't go into the tokenization in this demo, but it is a fundamental part of the platform, and so I would encourage any questions on that. And we can see by clicking on certificate that a certificate was produced. What is in a certificate? Well, it is everything we submitted in the first place, so it can be verified. It is my receipt, it is my request, and most importantly, in this scenario, and proof certificates can be tailored to a business domain's requirements, but in this particular application, the important thing is transaction ID, which shows the transaction on the Ethereum network, and thus we can prove the immutability of the seal that was stored. So that is the evident proof demo. Feel free to, I'm not logged into Telegram on my laptop, but feel free to ping through any questions. I'll pick them up straight after the demo, or Adrian Clark or Brian McClafferty on Telegram will pick them up. Okay, thanks all for your time. See you on the demo on Thursday if you are going to join.